Can you smell it? That specific, intoxicating blend of fresh plastic, treated leather, and synthetic fibers? We call it the new car smell. To the average person, it's the scent of success. To the automotive industry, it is the scent of a hooked customer. Every morning, millions of people walk out of their front doors, click a key fob, and watch the headlights of a beautiful, late-model vehicle wink back at them. But for a growing majority of these people, the ground they move on isn't actually theirs. They are participants in a massive, multi-billion-dollar social experiment called normalized debt. We've reached a point where the car payment is treated like a utility bill, as unavoidable as electricity or water. But this mindset is a ghost, a financial specter that haunts your long-term wealth, quietly eroding your net worth while you focus on the shine of a freshly waxed hood. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the great debate, leasing versus buying. This isn't just about $300 versus $500 a month. This is about the six-figure gap in your lifetime wealth. This is the math they don't want you to run at the dealership. To understand the ghost, we have to follow two people. Let's call them Jake and Marcus. They are identical in every way that matters to a bank. They earn the same $55,000 salary, live in the same neighborhood, and have their eyes on the exact same $30,000 silver sedan. They walk into the same dealership on the same Saturday. Jake is our modern consumer. He values cash flow, technology, and peace of mind. He signs a 36-month lease. He puts $2,000 down and secures a monthly payment of $299. He drives off the lot feeling like a genius. He has $1,000 more in his savings account than he expected, and his monthly obligation is low enough that he barely feels it. He has a full bumper-to-bumper warranty. If a single light flickers on the dashboard, it's the dealer's problem, not his. Then there's Marcus. Marcus is the traditionalist. He wants to own his tools. He takes out a 60-month loan at a 6% interest rate. He has to put $3,000 down, $1,000 more than Jake, and his monthly payment is a staggering $522. That is $223 more than Jake every single month. On day one, Jake is winning. He's driving the same car for nearly half the monthly cost. Marcus feels the pain of ownership immediately. Not only is his payment higher, but the moment he clears the dealership curb, his $30,000 asset drops to $27,000 in value. By the end of year one, it's worth $23,000, yet he still owes nearly $25,000 to the bank. Marcus is underwater. If you stop the clock at 24 months, any onlooker would say Marcus made a terrible mistake. But wealth isn't built in 24-month sprints. It's built in decades. Fast forward to the 36-month mark. This is where the paths diverge forever. Jake's lease is up. The new car smell has long since faded. He has a choice. Buy the car for its residual value, let's say $17,000, or hand back the keys. Jake looks at the car. It has a tiny dent in the door. The tires are getting thin. The infotainment system feels a little sluggish compared to the new models in the showroom. The salesman smiles and says, "Jake, why would you pay $17,000 for a 3-year-old car when I can put you in the brand new model for the same $299 a month?" Jake does what 80% of leasees do. He signs a new lease. He resets the clock. He pays another $2,000 down payment. He starts back at month one of a new 36-month cycle. His payment counter has been running for 3 years, yet his progress toward owning an asset is exactly 0. Now look at Marcus. Marcus is at month 36 of his 60-month loan. He's frustrated. His car is starting to feel old compared to Jake's new one. He's still paying $522. But Marcus has something Jake doesn't, an end date. He has 24 months left. He can see the finish line. Every payment he makes isn't a fee for using a car, it's a brick in the wall of his net worth. We hit month 60, the 5-year mark. Marcus makes his final payment of $522. He receives a piece of paper in the mail, the title. It is a document that says he owns 3,000 pounds of steel, glass, and technology outright. The car is now worth about $12,000. For the first time in 5 years, Marcus's monthly car payment is $0. His only costs are insurance, gas, and the occasional oil change. Jake, meanwhile, is in the middle of his second lease. He is still writing a check for $299 every month. He has become a permanent renter of his transportation. Let's look at the cumulative scoreboard at the 6-year mark. Jake has spent roughly $25,500 in lease payments and down payments. His net asset value? 0. Marcus has spent roughly $34,300 in loan payments and down payments. But he owns a car worth $12,000. When you subtract the asset value from the spend, Marcus's effective cost for 6 years of driving is $22,300. Jake has effectively paid $3,200 more than Marcus to drive the exact same class of vehicle. And from this point on, the gap widens exponentially. Every month Marcus keeps that car, he saves $299 compared to Jake. If Marcus keeps the car for 10 years, which is the average lifespan of a modern vehicle, he enters a phase of massive wealth accumulation. Why do so many smart people choose Jake's path? Because the automotive industry has mastered the psychology of the monthly hurdle. Dealers don't want to talk about the $50,000 you'll spend over a decade. They want to talk about the $299 you need to find by next Friday. By focusing on the monthly payment, they obscure the total cost of ownership. They've turned a car into a subscription service like Netflix or Spotify. But unlike a $15 movie subscription, a car is the second largest purchase most people ever make. When you lease, you aren't just paying for the car, you are paying for the most expensive part of a car's life, the initial depreciation. The leasing company calculates exactly how much value the car will lose in 3 years, adds a profit margin, the money factor, and bills you for it. You are essentially volunteering to take the biggest financial hit on behalf of the dealership over and over again every 3 years. And then there are the hidden ghosts in the lease contract. First, the mileage cap. Most leases limit you to 10,000 or 12,000 miles a year. The average person drives 13,500. If you go over, you pay 20 cents a mile. That sounds small until you realize a 5,000-mile overage is a $1,000 bill due the moment you hand back the keys. Second, wear and tear. The dealership expects the car back in showroom condition. That coffee stain in the back, that's $200. That curb rash on the rim, that's $400. When you own the car, these are cosmetic annoyances. When you lease, they are financial penalties. Third, the disposition fee. You actually have to pay the dealership $300 to $500 just to give them the car back. It's a thank you for your business fee in reverse. The most common defense for leasing is, I don't want to deal with repairs. It's a valid fear. A transmission failure or a broken AC compressor can cost $3,000. But let's look at the math. To avoid a potential $3,000 repair every few years, the lessee is willing to pay a guaranteed $3,600 every single year in lease payments. You are paying for a peace of mind that has a 100% markup. The buyer, Marcus, accepts the risk of repairs. Yes, in year 7, he might have to spend $1,500 on new tires and brakes. But he hasn't had a car payment in 2 years. He has saved over $7,000 in payments during that time. Even after the repair, he is still $5,500 ahead of Jake. The reality is that modern cars are incredibly reliable. The pain of a repair bill is psychological. We remember the $1,000 mechanic bill because it's a sudden shock. We forget the $300 lease payment because it's a slow, steady bleed. But the slow bleed is what kills the budget. There is a sophisticated argument often used by pro-leasers. If I lease for $299 and you buy for $522, I can take that $223 difference and invest it in the S&P 500. On paper, this is a winning strategy. Over 10 years, that $223 a month invested at an 8% return would grow to nearly $40,000. If Jake actually did this, he might indeed come out ahead of Marcus. But here is the human ghost. Almost no one does this. In the real world, that $223 isn't moved into a brokerage account on the first of the month. it's absorbed. It goes toward a slightly nicer dinner, a new pair of shoes, or an extra streaming subscription. It's called lifestyle creep. The lower payment of the lease gives us the illusion of wealth, which we then use as an excuse to increase our consumption. The buyer, by contrast, is forced to save. Every dollar Marcus pays toward his loan principal is a form of forced savings. He is building equity in a physical asset. At the end of the day, Marcus has a car he can sell for cash. Jake has nothing but a decade of memories of new car smells. Let's project this out over a lifetime. If you start driving at age 25 and stop at age 65, that's 40 years of vehicle ownership. The habitual lessee will go through roughly 13 lease cycles. At an average cost of $4,000 a year, payments plus down payments, they will spend $160,000 on cars and end up with $0 in assets. The buy and hold owner will buy maybe 4 high-quality vehicles over that same 40 years, keeping each for 10 years. Because they spend half of their adult life with no car payment, they can divert that money into real investments. The difference in their net worth at retirement? When you factor in the saved payments and the compound interest those savings could earn, the gap isn't just $16,000 or $20,000. It is often between $250,000 and $500,000. One person retires with a comfortable nest egg. The other retires still wondering why they can't seem to get ahead, all while driving a brand new car to the grocery store. To be intellectually honest, we must acknowledge that the financial ghost isn't always a villain. There are specific scenarios where leasing is the superior mathematical choice. First, business owners. If you use your car for business, the tax code often allows you to deduct lease payments much more aggressively than loan payments. In this case, the government is effectively subsidizing your lease, which can flip the math in your favor. Second, high-end luxury cars. If you are driving a top-tier German luxury sedan where the depreciation is catastrophic and the repair costs out of warranty are astronomical, leasing is a form of insurance. You are essentially paying a premium to never own a ticking time bomb. Third, rapidly evolving technology. Look at electric vehicles, EVs. Battery technology is moving so fast that an EV from 3 years ago can feel like a flip phone in the age of smartphones. In this niche, leasing protects you from being stuck with an obsolete asset with a degraded battery. But for 90% of the population driving 90% of the cars, the Hondas, the Toyotas, the Fords, these exceptions don't apply. For the average person, leasing is a luxury disguised as a convenience. So, what is the lesson? The automotive industry has masterfully rebranded a debt trap as a lifestyle choice. They want you to believe that a car is a fashion statement that should be updated every 3 years. They want you to fear the mechanic and worship the warranty. But financial independence isn't built on fashion statements. It's built on the ownership of assets and the elimination of monthly liabilities. The most powerful thing you can do for your financial future is to stop being a renter of your life. Buy a reliable vehicle. Pay it off. And then, this is the most important part, keep driving it. Enjoy the pain of the occasional repair. Embrace the boredom of an older dashboard. Because every month you drive without a payment is a month you are paying yourself instead of the bank. Don't focus on the monthly hurdle. Focus on the finish line. Because when the new car smell disappears, the only thing that remains is the math. And the math doesn't care about your status, it only cares about who owns the title. Choose to be an owner. Choose to be free of the ghost.